On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, we ask the important questions.
What is kale?
What's in a Harvey Wallbanger?
Who is the gassy bandit? Let's do this.
Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
I'm Liz.
And we are going to talk about Season 10, Episode 11, There's No Place Like Home.
There isn't, but there's also no way I want to watch this episode again. I'm done now. I hopefully never have to watch. I don't want to see this one again.
I didn't like it.
All right, so we will get to that. What have you been doing before we get to the bummer of it? We have many interesting things to talk about. Don't run away at the top. Like we it won't be sad. It'll be interesting. Don't run away.
We'll make it fun. Yay.
Okay. Before that, though, what have you been up to?
We're still finishing redoing our multiple rooms in our house because once you redo one and then it dominoes into a bunch of others, and we bought a sofa this weekend.
Let's see, that doesn't have to happen. That just happened to you.
Well, it does in our house.
Yeah, that doesn't happen to everybody. That just happens to you.
Yeah, I know. So that's what we've been doing. That's my life. This is my life, rearranging and painting. Well, actually, Dave's doing all the painting. So rearranging things. Yay. But we bought a new sofa. That's exciting.
You're not hiring somebody to paint with his back?
His back's good.
Okay.
That was his neck, and that's better now.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, we've been doing that, and that's my life. I'm getting ready to go to Austin for not South by.
For South by.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm not going to anything.
It is South by. You're coming to Austin for fucking South by. I don't care if it's a side event. You're coming to Austin for sucking. Sucking.
I mean that too. Fucking
that is sucking five.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. How about you?
So I went and saw the Spies Like Us 30th anniversary show on Saturday at the Rah Rah Room, which I thought I had seen, I thought I had been there before, but I'd been to their sister bar, which is basically across the street from them, which is why I thought, when I saw the address, was oh, they just changed the name of that one bar that I went to that one time. But actually, no, it's a different bar. And the other bar that I've been to, which is the Bang Bang, that is where Faya played. And
the Bang Bang and the Rah Rah?
The Bang Bang and the Rah Rah.
I kind of love it, and it's dumb. But I kind of love it. It's
dumb, and I love that, too, for them. They had Frito pies in bags, which if I, had a different stomach than I have at the moment, I would have been all about it. It was kind of jealous watching people eat those. The drinks were... Some of them were fine. A double of vodka was $17, but that's pretty normal these days.
That's double. That's the price of a
and
double.
And it was kind of premium vodka, so I don't it was. I mean, it was Tito's. It wasn't super fancy vodka, but still. So that wasn't too bad. I did get a guy buy me a free drink because I held his place against the wall. Ooh. And he didn't put any drugs in it, which made me sad. I was hoping for, a good time. But
it's it's a combination of relief and disappointment. You're
oh man, I don't have an excuse now. But yeah. So,
but also damn it, no one wanted to drug me.
No, I know, what the hell? But it's just that people are so weird. He gave me the drink. I asked what his name was. He told me his name. And then he went to his wall and looked at his phone. And then later I went to the bathroom and I did not ask him to hold my spot. And then some dude fucking took my spot. Fuck you, dude. You saw me standing there, you piece of shit. And you're very tall. Sorry, tall man. Tall man should never take short woman space. I feel like that is
Maybe he thought he was doing the right thing by standing against the wall, though. Because he was tall.
I don't know.
Because sometimes I find a wall or a pole to stand by because I'm tall.
Yeah. So then that guy was like, "Oh, you didn't tell me to save it for you." I'm like, "Fuck off, man." And then I ended up getting squished between him and another person, on the other side of the wall, and they were too close to me. But yeah, so that's the story of the wall at the raw.
Wow.
But yeah, the Naggins opened. Oh, Jason hasn't. Jason from Spies Like Us has a new band, and I forget what they're called, but they're very Replacements like. And then they played a Replacements cover, and so then I was correct in my assumption, my choice that that's what they sounded like. So the Naggins, I think that's their name, are a Irish punkish band. Do a lot of Pogues covers, a lot of Flogging Molly covers, and I just got off a Flogging Molly cruise. Also, the DJ was playing Hepcat and Agrolites, who were also on the Flogging Molly cruise. And I'm kind of over all these bands right now. Can you please stop playing them? Like, I really didn't want to hear them for a while.
That's like next week, like later this week, I'm gonna be like so like Americana'd out. Like I love your country band, but please give me something else.
Yeah, I mean, and so it was they are a big, big Irish production, with the fiddle, multiple, I think they had 9, ton of people. Also means their setup took fucking forever and taking the down took forever. So I'm just get the shit over with. Like, why are you taking so long? Stop chatting. Let's go. I got to get home. So, Spies Like Us came on, and their type of I skanked a lot on the cruise, but there was also I feel like Hepcat and Agrolites are much slower than Spies. Was much more of the pick it up of that's a lot of knee work and cardio, and I can do this for 15 seconds and done. You're and the song starts and you're yeah, I'm into nope. So I mean I didn't stay for the whole show because I also was worried about getting out of the parking lot. So and so I got, I still got home at midnight. It was still too late for me. I would much rather get home at 11, but yeah, so that was my weekend. And then, because the next day I had Lyra class, and then I didn't want to be throwing up at Lyra, because it's not fun. No. And for the longest time, I've been trying to do this thing called an inverted straddle mount, and basically is it's like when you used to roll, do backward somersaults and monkey bars, kind of, but when you're an adult, you can't do that anymore. And you feel like you can do it, but you can't, or it just takes a lot. So I've been trying to do that forever, and I didn't think I could ever do one, and I stopped trying. And then we had a sub in class. She's like, well, let's just see where everyone's at. And then I fucking did it, and then I was just like, oh my god, and the entire class clapped for me, and I'm like, yeah. And then I couldn't do it again.
Wow.
I know.
But you did.
But I did it. So did it once, it means I can do it again. So exactly. I was very excited. I've been trying for fucking ever, and I really just thought my tits weren't going to let me do it. You have to do these T-Rex arms. You have to do these T-Rex arms in front of you, and and then you hold. It's a thing. So. And it's easy, those. You get more support if your T-Rex arms aren't smishing giant mammary glands,
right?
At least I feel which is probably why gymnasts are generally young girls with no chests.
Yes.
But anyhow, we did lots of fun things, and I'm covered in bruises, and yeah, we're not. This isn't going to be
success
aerial shows, but it's success. Yeah. So, anyhow, and so it is already March 10th. Like you said, South by South is coming.
Part of it started already. I saw there was some stuff down there already. Oh yeah, and I watched the Love Is Blind finale because that's my other shit. That's my jam. But yeah, they've already started all the other film and things like that were happening over the last week, and then we're going into Music Week.
It is, that is the thing. It is nice to not have to fucking worry about that. I don't have to worry about traffic or parking or dealing with, you want to see this band? Son of a bitch, that's a showcase? What do you mean I need a fucking wristband to get in there? No, I don't want to stand in goddamn line for 3 hours to go see this stupid band.
Nope. None of the things. Not doing any of that.
No. So.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so it's spring. Happy spring, everybody. And yeah, let's talk about There's No Place Like Home. So this was season 10. This is episode 11 from season 10. It first aired January 27th, 2015. Keep that in mind for later. This was directed by Phil Sgriccia and written by Robbie Thompson, which is, Felicia Day feels like he writes for Charlie really well. So I think it was good that he was there. And of course, Phil is such a legend with the show. So We start off with a normal looking affluent house. That's what I call it.
It's a suburban house. And we hear yells and a flash out of the window. And then some dude with his hands tied together is running down the stairs. It's actually a really well shot scene with him running down the stairs.
It's very interesting.
And then he gets outside and he trips over the hose, busts his ass, and his motion lights come on. And we see he sits up and it's real quiet for a minute, but there is a silhouette of a woman just outside where the light reaches. And he's just talking about how he doesn't know anything else. And she's like, that's fine. I'm going to torture you anyways. And it is Charlie with her hair super sleek and looking not very Charlie-y.
All like Bad Faith or Bad Willow, like whenever someone slits, and I'll get into that later. But I mean, yeah, she looks like a much more sexed up version of herself.
Yeah. So we cut back to the the bunker, and Dean is while Sam's on the phone with Castiel, Dean is serving egg white omelets and hating them. He says he's doing 12 steps to keep the mark in check. But he hasn't had a drink in a week. He's trying to get 8 hours of sleep a night and eat right. And Sam's pretty impressed with this. And Dean is pissed because the food sucks. This is miserable. He wants to get rid of this, quote, demonic tramp stamp so that he can get back on booze, burgers, and more booze.
Yeah, I mean, that seems fine. Sam still also, though, is just like, look, I got nothing. But he at least is impressed with what Dean is doing. Then we get a research montage.
It is a research montage where Dean also drinks a green smoothie that he's also disgusted by. And I kind of don't blame him. I only had a couple that were good ever.
There was a time where I had a green smoothie book, and if you did shit right, like you could make delicious green drinks, but it's just too much effort, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like I'll just eat an apple. I just don't care anymore.
Right.
If somebody else wants to if somebody else wants to make it for me,
and eat an apple.
Yeah, or I will let somebody else make it for me. Like if I was still belonged to the gym that had the juice bar, that would be fine. Or maybe a Jamba Juice. But yeah, I'm not making that shit at home. I'm not going to clean that blender.
No. So suddenly we hear Sam say, "What the hell?" And Dean's immediate response was, "Kane or Crowley?" It's kind of funny. And Sam's like, "Charlie." And so Charlie is back from Oz, but did not call, and their feelers are hurt. So Sam has a video of Charlie beating this dude's ass in his backyard that was shot by a neighbor kid. And because Sam, in the middle of all the research, got distracted looking at weird news that might be related to them.
Yeah.
And apparently Dean's going to try to call her and she's not going to answer, but she tortured this DA and had previously gone after this court stenographer. So,
which is just a mean thing to do, and especially was it when she had her little typewriter? I'm always just fascinated with a stenographer. But yeah, so she got attacked, but Dean wants to give her the benefit of the doubt because maybe she's hunting, and sometimes hunting, if regular cops look at shit, sometimes things can look weird. So
yeah,
let's try that.
Sure. So context matters, and they're gonna pack and go check on her. But first, to find her, they're going to go talk to this, quote, asshat. While Dean's packing, he picks up his knife and he shakes a whole lot while he holds the knife. That's not a great
It's not even ODT. It's just a regular knife.
A knife.
Get the shakes.
Yeah. So Sam and Dean go to this DA's house, and his name, I wrote it down.
The Harper house. Is that
the Harper house? Yeah.
Peter Harper is his name.
Peter Harper. There we go. I have it.
I was like, it's like Peter Parker, but it's Harper.
That's right. But, and so of course they're like, oh, can you tell us about some weird smells or noises? And the guy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, I already told the cops about all this.
I think that is a valid thing to be asking anybody, because those things could also be signs of strokes, or, maybe someone was setting something on fire. You never know. Smells could be something. All right.
Huh. If I got assaulted in my home and tortured, and the first thing the FBI asked me was if I had noticed any weird smells or noises in my home, I don't know if that's something I would be thrilled
But just
about.
like as a precursor, and maybe they could be like, dude, that's what this guy's MO is. Like he likes to drop in a sulfur bomb, or he likes to just like fart up the place before he attacks you. Like that's just like what he does. So
The
we just
gassy
want
bandit.
He's the gassy bandit has struck again.
Oh no. All right. Well, so Sam and Dean are like, also, what do you know about this drunk driving case years ago related to the Middletons? And he's like, well, it never went to trial. The case,
which is fucking weird, right? Which we don't know. This is something that we're learning about Charlie's family. So her case of the drunk driver, because we know that her mom was in that coma and her dad was killed because there was a drunk driver. But
and they were on her way to pick her up from the slumber party.
Because she wanted to go home. So, but it never went to trial. That's fucking weird. It was never settled or anything, right? It went off the books, and the arresting officer is dead now.
Yeah. And there's no other record of this case anywhere except for this case file for their daughter, Celeste. And he hands over that file, which is interesting. He just remembers nothing else. Well, I think
he just happened to have that file sitting out too. Yeah.
He remembers nothing else. And Sam's like, oh, this is interesting because the person that attacked the stenographer said the person that attacked her wouldn't leave until they got a name, and that was your name. So what name did you give? And he basically Dean coerces Peter.
He's very aggressive.
Yeah, into giving a name. And finally, he gives up. He said that there was a lot of money for overseas that was sent to him, and he was going to get disbarred, but it was Councilwoman Barbara Cordry.
Yeah. Okay. So that's weird. Some weird shit. Yeah. So now,
because what councilwoman has that much money in like a small town?
What is he? I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just it's a weird person. Whatever. Maybe like it's a very like I always feel it's very strange when people know like their council people.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like it just doesn't seem like something that most people would know. Anyways, so Councilwoman Barbara Cordry is who they're going after. So they are in Baby, and Sam is reading Charlie/Celeste's file.
Yeah. And so they've determined that she's looking for the person who destroyed her family, and Dean wants to find her before she does something she can't walk away from. And so they go to this other house, and Sam and Dean introduce themselves that they are agents Gabriel and Agent Collins.
Yeah, Gabriel and Collins, but that woman is very professional looking, and tell me like she don't work in politics, but like just looking at her, right? Right. They just have her. I don't know. It's just they nailed it.
For sure. And
also the door in there looks like the Charmed house without the Hallows sign in it.
Oh, that's funny. I wouldn't have noticed. But she's just got back from vacation and doesn't want to answer a goddamn thing. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Schedule an appointment with my assistant if you want to talk. Bye. And closes the door on him. So they stake it out. And while they're sitting there, Dean has a very disappointing kale wrap. And Sam is sharing notes from Charlie's file about her anti-authority disorder and her clinical depression with violent outbursts.
Yeah, which is pretty a harsh thing for like a young kid, right? But Dean is like, but hey, if they interviewed us at that age, it wouldn't have been good either, right? And so again, like wrong. Grains of salt, like let's try and take things as they are, right?
Yeah. Because Sam's like, whoa, did we just not know her? And did she snap? And Dean's like, no, this can't be real. So it's kind of a cute balance here in a way. But anyway, not cute. Not like all cute, but like kind of cute. I don't
know. Or interesting at least. Let's just say that instead of cute. Yeah. Because my next thing actually says, because we're going to overuse the word cute, because I also say, damn, that house is cute. So
there we go.
Then they run inside, guns drawn.
Because they hear a scream. So they find the Charlie that we saw torturing the dude, that Charlie now has a knife to Barbara's throat. And she should have known that Rocket and Groot would track her down.
Oh,
Yay.
I do love Rocket and Groot.
I
So,
do.
yep. And Charlie just wants answers, and she hits Barbara.
Yeah, a lot. And Dean's like, what are you pounding on people for answers now? What happened to you in Oz? And she says, everything I wanted, an adventure.
Yep, and she got this cute little sword, and she knows that Sam won't hurt her because he lives the good guy code.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean lets Sam hold him back, and they put their guns away.
Yeah, so she pushes Barbara and runs, and Dean is able to catch her, and they get into a fight. And she's kicking him and runs, and Sam's like, Barbara, what the fuck did Charlie want?
Like, so Dean tackles her, and maybe this is because we did the fight episode last week. So
That's
Dean
true.
tackles her. Charlie puts him in a scissor hold with her legs on top of him. She's just like, I'm just
choking him out with her legs.
With her legs, basically with her vagina. But I mean, like, she's just like, wow, like crushing him with like her thighs. And then like she gets on top of him and she punches in the face. And then she's about to leave and she's like, nope. And she runs back so she has extra time to kick him in the face before she runs off. Yeah, and that extra kick in the face was pretty epic.
The kick in the face was pretty gnarly. Yeah, I agree. So Sam's asking Barbara what Charlie wanted, and she was apparently asking for some bank statements. And so,
like, what the fuck? Will you just have those around? Like, or am I printing them out for you? What's going on?
And outside, Dean sees Charlie drive off in this black SUV, and notices that baby's tires are slashed. That's rude.
So
and
rude.
Then a yellow gremlin pulls up.
And it's Charlie?
But her hair's different. Her outfit's different.
Yeah. And
everybody's confused.
Yeah. Dean is confused. Sam comes running out. He's also confused. She's like, what's up, bitches? It's me. Then Sam's hair becomes like this extra magical thing where it becomes all tousled around his face. And it really kind of like works. It's less Prince Valiantly. It's just like, sort of like, I'm out in the open.
I'm just not a shaggy haired girl, so like I just don't get
I'm just fascinated with Sam's hair. It's nothing to do with like whether or not I like shaggy hair.
I think I just block it out.
I don't know how you can not notice it. It's like one of the cast members at this point. So then they go from Sam's magical hair to a restaurant/bar thing.
Berto's Ale House. And yeah, basically, Charlie explains that there's two of her now. There's one good and one bad because there was a war for Emerald City and they were going to lose. So she made a deal with the wizard where he used this weird key thing to fucking open her soul and let her darkness out as a personification.
Yeah. And you use that with the inner key of Oz. It opens the door to your soul. And like you said, it lets the darkness out.
But I believe in a thing called love. It's creepy. I don't like it.
You don't want the darkness to come out?
No. I like that song, but no. It's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, and I have a whole thought about that too, but it's kind of saving that one for the end.
Okay, well, she's connected physically though. Both of them, the good Charlie and bad Charlie, are connected physically. So if you hurt one, it hurts both. And being really good all the time is annoying.
Right, because she said normally, she's not loving it. Normally, she would be banging Harvey Wallbangers. What the fuck is in a Harvey Wallbanger?
I meant to look it up when I first.
Damn it! It sounds awesome, but it's probably gross. It's probably like I don't know. So while Diana looks
vodka on. Sweet and fruity cocktail combines orange juice, Galliano liquor, and vodka. It's a variant of the screwdriver, popular in the 1970s and 1980s. And the name is from the story of a California surfer named Tom Harvey, who became so drunk he ran into walls.
That's awesome to have like a drink that everybody like you remembers your drunk ass by.
Right.
So that's what she would be banging, and then she would also be banging or want to thinking about checking out the hot bartender who is ridiculously hot.
She's really
like what is she doing in this town?
Yeah, she's very pretty. She's trying to get out of this town.
Yes, she's working in that bar to make tips. So, and that's what Charlie wants to do. She wants to send her to college.
Yes. So, yeah.
She also wants a sip club soda, which is what I do like most of the time at bars these days.
Well, yeah. So
Something they usually
Dark
has vodka
Charlie
in it, but-
won the war and is now trying, but she did awful things to do it. So now she's trying to win back good Charlie by going after the people that took her parents away.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird, but it's what, a twisted version of herself will do. And Charlie's solution is, I just want to lock Sad Me away, which they're just like, I don't know if that's the solution here.
Yeah, not necessarily the right answer. And Sam and Dean are tell her this. They're like, why don't we just get the key and put you back together again? And she's like, yeah, that sounds great and all, but I can't get back to Oz to get to that key because it's broken. Here's the key.
No. Here's my big half-ass key that is now broken in half because Dark Charlie did that.
Yeah. So now they need to figure out who this killer is first so that Dark Charlie doesn't kill them, I guess. So anyway, so Sam's like, can you hack into Barbara's bank account so that we can figure out what Dark Charlie was looking for? And she can't because hacking is bad.
And so Sam is like, can you guide me through the process and that'll be okay? I am Master Hacker Sam, after all. Think of all the things that I have hacked in the last 5 seasons.
So many
So
hacks.
I don't even know if I need your help, Charlie, but why don't you just tell me what to do just in case?
Just in case. And Dean is at the bar looking like an alcoholic shaking because he's not taking a shot.
He looks at himself in the mirror and then he starts to shake. And it's just like, what, so your reflection's what's setting you off now? Is it like your deep, soulful eyes? Like what?
It's super weird. So, but in the meantime, Charlie's like, sure, I will tell you how to hack. And there's a whole lot of messy money stuff, but they also find this money tied to Russell Wellington, who also apparently they quickly locate the information that his car was stolen the week of the accident, never recovered. He went on a sabbatical for 2 weeks, returned with bruises and a broken ankle.
Huh.
So
isn't that convenient?
And he's got a fancy picture of him, professional picture of him as a commercial property developer on a laptop.
Yeah. And Charlie sees his face. It really makes her emotional. And Dean's just like, nope, we're going to close this right now. We're not, nope, not right here. Not in the middle of this bar.
Yeah. And they're like, look, you don't need to be part of this, good Charlie. You need to stay out of this. Let us go handle it. And, we don't think that locking Dark Charlie up is going to work. So she's like, cool, let's go to the bunker. And Dean's like, yes, you and Sam go to the fucking bunker. That's a good idea. So he's going to stay and look after Russell and wait for Dark Charlie to show up and protect
that
this
also
piece
doesn't that sound
of
like
crap.
A drink or something, like,
Charlie?
or like, yeah, is it, or a candy bar, or
it does.
I really enjoyed that Dark Charlie.
Charlie.
Or like, a really hot porn star, like Dark Charlie, and like, I don't know, like it could go a lot of ways. Anyway, so it's just a very strange thing to be calling somebody over and over again. So
it is. They say it a lot, and my notes say it a lot.
Yeah. So if Dark Charlie hurts, so does good Charlie.
So yeah, there we go. All right. So Sam tells Charlie what the fuck's been going on with Dean while they're on the road. And Dean is on his stakeout listening to a meditation thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, a tape about finding your quiet, but it's also totally bullshit. It is Robert Singer who was doing the voice for that tapeover, of course. But Dean also, it does what I would do, right? It's just like, okay, let me try this, and like last like 5 seconds. I'm like, nope. And I'm just throwing this shit out. Nope.
Yep. But we see Russell pull in his Mercedes-Benz SL5 AMG with gull-wing doors, and it is cute.
It's very expensive. It's pretty, but it's too much.
I'm not like a small sports car kind of gal, and I like it.
I don't like anything with wings. So like, unless it's like a maxi pad. So he gets out and he's like talking on his phone because he's super important. And then Dean goes inside and a receptionist pushes a clipboard at him to tell him to sign in.
And so he signs in to meet with Russell Wellington, I guess. This is too serendipitous. It makes no sense, but that's okay.
No, he's going to meet, he's staking out Russell Wellington. So he's gone to his office.
Oh, no, I get that.
And so it's too serendipitous.
How it plays out at the office.
What, that he's the last one there?
He's the last one. It's perfect. Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah. Probably, well, he didn't have an appointment, so the other people had appointments, so they put him in at the end.
I guess.
That's
Most
what I would do
places
as a
tell you to fuck
receptionist.
off.
Yeah, and if I had time, like, yeah. Anyway, so there's also some smooth sax playing, and there are a bunch of folks in this waiting room. So Dean takes one of the seats.
Yeah. Sam and Charlie have located a file on Clive Dillon. Clive Dillon was the original Men of Letters to locate the key to Oz, and he went there and he got stuck and he had to get brought back. It was a whole thing. So when he came back, though, he retired from the Men of Letters, but there's really not like a procedure for that. So everybody's confused.
Yeah,
and
Charlie's just surprised that you could, right? And
Well,
so
yeah.
is kind of Sam. Sam's like, well, I guess, like, apparently you can, right?
Mhm.
But in order to do that, what they really did was put him in kind of like a witness relocation program. But of course, they have all the details there because they're terrible at hiding people.
Yes. Yeah. And then we go back to this reception room, and it's a woman's calling for Mr. Presley, and Dean is intently reading a Fitness Now magazine with a bunch of women in it. So after some inappropriate comments about mammograms, he gets escorted to
He said
Russell's
he was
office.
deep in the article on mammograms. And frankly, if it was a dude and they saw like what an actual mammogram was, I could see them being actually fascinated. And be like, what the fuck? Because like, if that article actually shows what happens, like they would probably be like, what? Like, no, it's not just taking a picture of your tits, dude. Like, squish, squish. So squish, squish. So Mr. Presley has to go into the office.
Yeah, so he gets escorted into Russell's office, and everyone else is leaving because it's the end of the day. So receptionist is gone. The assistant chick is getting cut after she gets instructions to pick up dry cleaning and take care of a dog. And then Russell's like, fine, Mr. Presley, what are you looking for? And so Dean is going to describe his dream house. While that's happening, Sam and Charlie have decided that they are going to go, they're looking at that Clive must be alive, and they're going to go find him because time is different in Oz, so he might not be as old as they think, and he's the closest person to them, and he might be able to fix their key.
Yep. And they almost leave the key on the table because that table, I think, just like traps everything that you put on it.
True.
And which is okay. Like, I understand. Like, now I get it. Like, I would take, like, we all have that table. All right, fine. Like, it just like sucks everything to it. So, but Charlie goes back and gets it. And so we go back to Russell's where Dean is saying that he doesn't have to have a jacuzzi, but he really likes bubbles.
Yeah, and Russell kind of stops Dean, and he's just going to call out his cheap shoes and skinny jeans that the only house he can probably afford is on wheels. So Russell goes straight to being really rude.
Yeah, and dude, like, you don't know who the fuck you're talking to. Rich people just poor all the time. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
So Dean, but does not just like do this transition well. He's like, saving your life.
Nope. He's like, that's it. Sorry. And anyways, Dean's like, nope, but we're going to do this, and I'm going to tell you about this wreck. And Russell's trying to play it off, but he does not. He wrings his hands. He denies it, and then the power goes out. So Dean locates Dark Charlie pretty quickly, interestingly. And she's like, I just want to talk, blah, 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 repressed feelings, blah, 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 passive aggression. Pretty funny. She literally says blah, blah, blah. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I know. But she's making fun of the Winchesters and their repressed feelings and passive aggression, which I think she nails it. Yeah. And she says that she just wants to talk to Dean, while she's flipping her sword around. And he's like, yeah, right.
And she just wants to talk to Russell, too. And she just wants him to see her face and see what he did. She's, here, take my knife or my blade, my little mini sword. It's fine. I deserve this, though, to have him look at my face. And then I'll hand him over to the cops. And Dean's like, okay, Dark Charlie, I believe you.
This sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I can trust you. So she goes into the office.
And immediately Russell calls her Celeste, which is super weird. And then she slams the door and locks it and blocks the door.
Yep. And so, but Russell is also like trying to go through like a massive apology saying that he was young and stupid, he was selfish and wrong, and he should pay and all these things. So he's tried to make his apologies, but
I did think I will give it like it was a pretty like he goes. I felt like he was like when he changed, he's like, I was drunk and stupid when that happened. I can never give it back, but I was sober and I was selfish and I was wrong for what I did after the fact. I thought that was an interesting, made his apology, whether, I know it's a fucking TV show anyways, but like it made it a more valid apology in my mind as
sincere.
Because it wasn't like, sincere. Oh, I was drunk, I'm sorry. No, he's like, yeah, I was drunk and I fucked up. But then after, I knowingly did the other things.
Yeah, but he also has not done anything to fix this.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
So, fuck you,
absolutely
Russell.
not. No, I just thought it was interesting in the writing.
Yeah.
But
no, it's a very multifaceted Russell speech thing.
Yes. And, and she's like, I forgive you. And that's when she locks the door. I jumped the gun on that. Sorry. She locks the door and then she stabs Russell and kills him.
And then she jumps out the window through the glass, like right through the blinds. And I think it would have taken you 3 seconds to open that window.
Right?
I don't think that was necessary.
I don't know. Those plate glass windows in an office building, those don't always open. But they're also
and like what happens if you like, but it also doesn't mean you can run through it. If it won't open, you would probably just like bounce off of it.
Right? I don't know how you break that easily. Well, good Charlie and Sam are driving, and Dean calls them because he has them to know that he needs them to know that I want to call her bad Charlie. Dark Charlie got to Russell and killed him. And he's like, and they tell Dean that they're on their way to Junction City to see Michael Carter, which is the alias of Clive.
Yeah, and he basically they tell Dean everything about him, and then like Dean's on his way. But before that, he's still staring, like he's at the bar and he's staring at a shot and that cute bartender from before.
Yeah. And Dark Charlie shows up and says that, you lied to yourself. You knew that I was going to do, but something's off about you and I want to know what it is. And she's like, being dark sets you free. And I know you know this.
It's
free your mind. It's from my brain.
Yeah. So, but part of Dean is, he has been on the wild side, on the bad side, right? So then we cut from that back to Clive's house, who says he's not Clive. They're like, but you are, and you were in letters.
Here, look, I've got a key to Oz. Ta-da!
Ta-da! And you've got a scar. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's got a scar on his face. So Dark Charlie is now having a drink with Dean and commenting on the hot bartender. And she calls Dean out for calling her Dark Charlie, which I think is interesting.
She's like, I sound like a candy bar.
And he's like, yeah, by the way, good Charlie found a man of letters and we're going to go back to Oz and we're going to put you back inside Charlie.
Why are you telling her all this? We're like, what? You're sharing a lot of information. I don't understand this. And then Charlie's like, I'm just going to go bang that bartender. And
Dean's like, I'm going to do this shot. Oh, no, I'm not. Because, Charlie didn't bang the bartender. She snuck out and stole baby.
It was a ruse. It was a trap.
It was a trap.
And she went out the back door. But then they can hear an engine rev. And oh, no. She has stolen baby.
It's rude.
Yeah. It's like, who does that?
She slashed baby's tires and stole her in one episode.
I know. It's a lot. A lot of things have happened here.
Fucking rude.
Yeah. So now Dean calls Sam, and she's no longer Dark Charlie, but she's back to being called Dick Charlie, which is much more interesting. So Dick Charlie has taken baby, but when he told her all the information, he told her the wrong town.
Yeah. I don't think that worked real well, though.
But yeah, so he thinks it does. So, but he'll be there as soon as he can steal a car. So like maybe like he had a plan when he dropped all that information.
I guess. But good Charlie and Clive are talking, and he tells her that this key to Oz is forged with Oz steel and can only be fixed there. So, and Sam's like, so what happened to you, man? Because He's like, oh, it's in my report. I totally got kidnapped. It's bad people. It's fine. And they're like, no, you're lying. And he's like, look, the same thing happened to me as you.
I don't understand this.
No?
He's lying. How can he lie? Lying is bad.
That's a good question.
And Charlie points it out, and she's like, lying is bad. So I'm like, are you the bad wizard? But like, he's lying. So anyhow, so a coven of witches grabbed him, and that was lucky. And so he got to hang out with a whole coven of witches, and then they unleashed his inner id. And then he killed all the witches
and became this power-hungry Wizard of Oz.
He's the wizard. Oh my God, no. But the wizard's right next to Dorothy. Oh no. Yeah. The flying monkeys are coming out of my ass. So,
but then also, like, why would this guy go back and like could possibly die and the wizard would be dead? Like, this just seems unwise for the wizard. I'm very confused too. I get it. I'm with you. It doesn't make sense. Anyways.
Anyways, without the key, they can't get the wizard. So they're like, but maybe we can summon him here. So instead of doing a summoning spell, he takes out a gun.
Yeah, because if he's mortally wounded, I don't know, the wizard would probably come back.
We'll have to come back because if he hurts himself, like, then he dies. So he has to come back to save himself.
But what if he doesn't come back? I mean, he could just not, like, they both die.
And then he would die. He would die. Yeah. So he's coming. He is so self-care, like he's such a narcissist that he won't want to die. So when he will have to come back and save his other self.
I guess. So it's like, he is me and I am him. It's kind of like, this is kind of a thing that's implied that Charlie kind of said in different words, but he says that he is me and I am him. Ugh.
Yeah, they're the same person. They're just different traits that have been split apart.
Don't like the way it's worded.
So, yeah, well, anyhow. So then a minivan pulls up and Dean gets out.
Yeah, and guess who's right behind him? Dark Charlie. Because she probably fucking followed him.
Curses.
Duh.
So she's followed him. There's a gunshot. Dean won't let her near her.
Yeah. She's like, I just want to talk. No, you don't. We already learned that. And so Dean and Dark Charlie have a big fight in the parking lot, in the front yard. And it's weird because I don't think he's remembering that he's hurting Charlie.
I don't know. It's not great. So that happens, and there's an earthquake, and then the mirror shatters green, and then in comes this robe figure in a mask, and then he takes it off, and then they have matching scars.
But otherwise, they look nothing alike.
Because he's the young version of himself.
I know, just saying they didn't look like him to me. But I was like, wait, what? But yes, and he's like, you're a fool. And Sam starts to point a gun at the wizard, but the wizard like ties him with magic green
lassos. So he uses magic green lassos and he binds his hands and his feet. And then the wizard berates him for being unable to stay alive. But then we see that good Charlie is bleeding from her lip because Dean has hit her. We hit bad Charlie.
He's beating the shit out of Dark Charlie.
It's very hard to watch. It is very hard to watch. But then Bad Charlie is taunting Dean and says that he hits like a girl who has never learned to hit.
Yeah. It's, and Wizard is telling Sam that, and he's going to start choking him. And he says, your friend wanted to be a hero and heroes die. So
and he's doing like the force choke too. Like he's putting his hand on him. He's like, from afar.
Yep. And at the encouragement of Clive, good Charlie gets the pistol and shoots Clive in the face to kill both him and the wizard. And
after Bad Charlie gets her arm broken, because it's always Charlie's arm. So that happens before Yeah. So that happens before. It was only when she's with the Winchester. So, but that happens, and then she shoots him.
Yeah. So, and Dark Charlie. So Sam carries good Charlie outside to Dean, to get Dean to fucking stop beating the shit out of Dark Charlie, and they lays them down next to each other, and Dark Charlie says to good Charlie that you killed the wizard. The magic was in you the whole time. Like she knew and wanted her to kill the wizard. I don't know. It's weird. Either way, Sam puts the wizard keys onto good Charlie's stomach, and dark Charlie fades away and then like goes
They
inside good
merge. He
Charlie.
doesn't fade away. They merge.
Well, she fades into light, and then that goes into good Charlie.
Yeah. Then Sam hugs her while she sobs, and it's very sad. And Dean watches and looks at his knuckles, and nope, I don't like this at all. It's very, very distressing.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's really weird. So back at the bunker, Sam is on his phone telling Cass that Dean's better, that he's calmed down, but they've got to figure out they got to find Kane or a new plan here. Ugh. And Charlie comes in, her face is all bruised, and her broken arm is in a sling. That doesn't feel good.
And she's wearing a really cute Robin shirt.
Oh. And she's like, yeah, she's balanced with her good and bad. So that's good.
That sounds nice.
And Charlie's like, yeah, I'm going to go. Oh, Sam's like, hey, I don't have a lot of leads, but I want to go check out this book that's in Tuscany. And she's like, I'll go. I don't blame her.
And so Sam is like, oh my God, I found this super rare book called The Book of the Damned. And it's only like available in a library in Tuscany. Or maybe it's in my fucking hands right now, because this is the book that he pulls out. Oh my God. So The Book of the Damned, this is, I don't know. It's not a lore thing. I'm just going to talk about this fucking book. So The Book of the Damned was written by Charles Fort. And it was originally published in 1919, but this edition came out in 2016 because it got popular again. And this episode came out in 2015. So I feel like that's probably one of the reasons that this book came out. So, but this book... So Sam makes it sound like this book is going to have the answers to
the Mark of Cain.
To the Mark of Cain. And so let me read the back flap of this book. So, welcome to A Record of the Damned. By damned, wrote Charles Fort in 1919, I mean the excluded. We shall have a procession of the data that science has excluded. Fort's survey of the unknown was one of the first to expose modern people to visitors from space, monsters, poltergeists, and floating islands. Frogs fall from the sky, mysterious airships take flight in an age before the airplane, people disappear, reappear, and spontaneously combust. This volume reintroduces the central and most influential work of Fort's career, in which he pushed us to ask, what is out there? And that sounds really great. But this book is not written in any way that like makes any sense. Like, I mean, it makes sense, but it's like, it's not
like a handbook to help what they're
It's not like a handbook. Like, it literally starts off with like, battalions of the accursed, captained by pallid data that I have exhumed, will march. You'll read them, or they'll march. Some of them livid, and some of them fiery, and some of them rotten. Some of them are corpses, skeletons, mummies, twitching, tottering, animated by companions that have been damned alive. There are giants that will walk by through sound asleep. And then, so like all that kind of language like takes up the first chapter, right? And then you're like, okay, maybe that's just like his prologue, and like somewhere in this is going to make more sense, right? So let's just go to chapter 3. So then it is our expression that science relates to real knowledge no more than does the growth of a plant, or the organization of a department store, or the development of a nation, that all are assimilative or organizing or systemizing processes that represent different attempts to attain the positive state. The state commonly called heaven, I suppose. I mean, what the fuck? What does that have to do with zombies, right? Nothing. So then you have to like kind of keep going through there, and then like he'll like start calling out like, I think would be like a good like bibliography. Like if you were trying to find things stuff, because he'll be like, okay, London Times, April 19th, 1836. Fall of fish that occurred in the neighborhood of Allahabad, India. It is said that the fish were out of the chawal species, about a span in length and sear in weight, they were dead and dry. So that he's like talking about like what was in like the London Times in one day. He kind of summarizes it, but he talks about, and then he goes off on like a tangent, right? And so then you could like, okay, well maybe another way like I could use this would be, there's an index in here. That's great. So let's see. Is there anything on Mark of Cain? No. Sigils? No. Frogs? Okay. What about frogs? Like, does that have anything to do anything? Then he spends like an entire chapter talking about frogs falling out of the sky, and but yeah, he quotes
Weird.
he quotes from Notes and Queries and from the Scientific American and from a couple other things. But like a shower of frogs which darkened the air and covered the ground for a long distance is a reported result of a recent rainstorm at Kansas City, Missouri, from the Scientific American, July 12th, 1873, as to having been there in the first place. Then he says little frogs found in London after a heavy storm, July 30th, 1838. Little toads found in a desert after, and he just talks about frogs like an hour.
That's weird.
I don't think this book's gonna help you, Sam.
Probably not. There's a frog on the cover.
There is a frog on the cover. Charles was really into frogs. Yeah, and if you go like his little author bio note at the end. So Charles was born in Albany, New York on August 6, 1874. After achieving modest success as a short story writer and novelist, Fort began studying anomalous phenomena. In 1919, he published his landmark of paranormal exploration, The Book of the Damned, which influenced generations of writers. Fort moved to London in 1924 to consult the archives at the British Museum, then returned to the United States in 1926. At the New York Public Library, he continued his research into spontaneous combustion, spaceships, poltergeists, and other experiences and events that had been written off by science. Fort published 3 additional books on the unexplained: New Lands, Low, and Wild Talents. Though his work attracted controversy, Fort was celebrated in the New York Times as the enfant terrible of science, and he counted novelist Theodore Dreiser among his closest friends and literary admirers. Fort's name was made into an adjective, Fortean, to describe strange phenomena. So that's where that word comes from. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And a lasting influence on the evolution of science fiction as well as science. Fort stands as one of the most fascinating and polarizing figures in all of Americana, and he died on May 3rd, 1932 in New York City, and he kind of looked like Teddy Roosevelt. So, I mean, he was one of the first people to write about this like weird stuff. Not the first, but so it was a really good book, and I guess, like I said, I think it probably would have served as a bibliography for me if I was reading this in the 1920s, but it does not read like a manual. And we'll say that. And he did the chapters weren't titled. That would also have been helpful. So that is my review of the Book of the Damned.
Yeah.
Don't recommend.
Noted.
Go find a different Book of the Damned. So anyway, Charlie's gonna go check it out now.
So Charlie's on a wild goose chase, is what you just told me. But
she's gonna go get it. Like she could probably go get it at Barnes and Noble.
Oh, but wouldn't you rather go to Tuscany?
I would rather go to Tuscany. Yes.
So, all right. And so she's going to tell them that, she's had enough, there's enough adventure here. She doesn't need to go back to Oz, but she's got to keep moving forward. And she tells Dean that they're going to get this fixed because he's a Winchester, and she forgives him. Oh.
Yeah,
but Dean does not forgive himself.
Yeah, and he's very sorry. And he tells her that, and he hugs her, and she tells him to prove it. And then Sam just looks on there with his hair acting glorious.
Yeah. So she's going to call them when she finds this book, or she'll just keep digging, and she leaves. So.
And then she says, instead of saying goodbye, bitches, she says, arrivederci, bitches.
Arrivederci, bitches. And Dean looks very sad, and Sam asks if he's good, and he says no. And then we get a close-up of his face for a long time.
Yeah, but he doesn't have shaking hands now. He just has like a face and then very thoughtful eyes.
Yeah, that's our episode. Woo.
Yeah, Woof. So cast peoples.
Yeah, so for our cast today.
Casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
We've got Clive Dillon, aka Michael Carter, is played by Duncan Fraser, also plays Odin. He's been in episodes of MacGyver, 21 Jump Street, X-Files, and Supergirl. He was Coach Decker in Ernest Goes to School. He does the voice of Masala in the 2003 animated version of Ben-Hur. He was a VI psychiatrist in The Predator and Dr. Cartwright in The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Russell Wellington was played by Barclay Hope. He's been in a couple episodes of Supernatural. He's been in episodes of Kung Fu, Goosebumps, Battlestar Galactica, Smallville a few times, Fringe, Hellcats a few times, Once Upon a Time a couple times, iZombie, Wayward Pines a few times, Prison Break, Teen Wolf, Unreal a handful of times, Good Doctor, Resident Alien a couple times, and Fire Country a few times as well. He was the coach in The Tooth Fairy, the Doctor in Final Destination 5, and Clifford Blossom in Riverdale. Lots and lots of episodes of that. Peter Harper was played by Paul McGillian, and he's been in episodes of X-Files, Smallville, 24, V, Once Upon a Time, Fringe, The Flash, The Good Doctor, and Fargo. He was an English teacher in Tomorrowland, the commander in Skyscraper, and Bud on Firefly Lane as a recurring character. Barbara Corddry was played by Iris Quinn. She's been in episodes of X-Files, Supergirl, Good Doctor, and Schmigadoon. She was Mrs. Strudemeyer in Slither, and Mrs. Beers in Twilight Eclipse. She's also been in a lot of Hallmark. But our assistant was in episodes of The Good Doctor and Resident Alien and Charmed. That was Paula Burrows. Our hot bartender was played by Nesta Cooper. She's been in episodes of Unreal, Magicians, and Fire Country. Additionally, a reoccurring character named Dahlia in Heroes Reborn. That was a reboot of the Heroes series. Carly
how'd that work out?
I have not watched it. Carly in Travelers was a reoccurring character. She was in several dozen episodes of that. And Hanina is a character she played in the TV show C, a couple dozen episodes of that as well. So she's got a couple continuing roles. So yeah, there we go.
I will say, I was holding this thing. So one of, obviously, Charlie's played by Felicia Day. And I did also get her book, which I'm holding up. So in one of her, she has an autobiography that I was going to get and then quiz you out of, but I didn't get that. I got her book, which was Embrace Your Weird. And I was thinking of having us do exercises on, but I didn't think that would make for a good podcast. But then I decided to get the book because it actually sounds like a really fun way to unleash your creativity. And it's just really cute. And they have all sorts of things like little snakes in it. And there's little journal things and little activities you do to like help yourself get more creative and help with anxiety and things that go with that, when you're an artistic person. It's pretty cute and it's well written. And she put this out in 2019. So I contributed to whatever Mrs. Day, but I highly recommend people get this. Actually, it was fun. So
fun.
So on that note, this episode. So the trope of you can be split in two, right? And like I say she was like Bad Faith or Bad Willow, but really it was also what happened when Xander was split in two when he got hit with a stick, and so there was evil Xander, and so but it was really it's been done in Buffy a couple of ways and been done in other shows too. So it is a trope. And, obviously I love Charlie and I'm always glad that she's back, but from an even just a philosophical standpoint of the idea that as a human being that we are made up of good and bad that could be split in two, that those traits like of a person could be broken in half like that, which is just, I think it's an impossible, obviously it's, it's TV, but I mean, like, just how would that even like work, right? I don't think those are things that can actually be split across, right? It can be if you're going on this very like, we are all these archetypes and part of like our traits and stuff can go like, you can maybe have different traits. Like I can see that, but like good and bad being morality split, I don't think works.
No, I think people are not that binary in any way, shape, or form. In most ways, maybe in some ways, there's certain things, but I think that it reduces the actual nuance and the nuance and gray area that exists in most people and most issues and most things in life. It's not black and most things aren't black and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
it's not good and evil, right? Like evil has like good things that are like, and you're going to make good decisions that have evil consequences, and like there's all sorts of stuff, right? And so, as a trope, I understand it, and I think it's an interesting plot device. But at the same time, it is as a human being, I think obviously this magic wouldn't work in real life. Human beings are too complex for this, but it just.
Yeah. Well, and when a show is trying to convince you of and make you buy into the humanity of a character, but also doing something that a human couldn't do like that, I think that makes it hard when you're trying to buy into Charlie is a good character with nuance to her because she does illegal things that she feels that are justified or whatever, you know what I mean, before, but then now she's divided her 50-50 into her revenge side and her good side, and this side doesn't drink and this side does drink. Like, that's a weird, like, I don't know, the dynamic is weird.
It's a weird thing, and then like
the implications are odd.
It's just the to me, it's also the morality implications, right? What makes somebody good, what makes somebody evil, which is we're also seeing this reflection of Dean Mon, and all of the badness that goes into the Mark of Cain. So we are seeing that. This is obviously meant to be a reflection of bad deed, but. Yeah. I also just don't like watching Dean beat up Charlie. Like, I think that's upsetting.
And the whole episode's sad because there's no resolution in this episode. And that's what's fucking Bombersville. It's like, oh, Charlie's family's still dead. And now she's just murdered this other guy, which might seem like it's justified and he may have deserved it, but that doesn't make it right that it went down this way. And it's like this whole,
I don't think
there's
even
nothing
bad Charlie would have justified that. Like,
no, it's all gross.
It's cold-blooded murder. Like, it's.
Like, right, even if he's a dick and never got punished and all that, but he is sitting there apologizing and stabbing him isn't really like unfucking anything.
Well, and
now Charlie's going to be wanted by the police, and now it's more complicated.
I just also don't buy that Dean would have hit her. Like, no matter like how bad the marker or how like, I also don't think, I think he would have seen, like, I don't think like, no, she didn't do anything to like really provoke like that fight. Right. And I don't see even with the Mark of Cain, him like being able to go past his sisterhood love for Charlie to hit her.
Maybe.
I don't buy it.
I mean, I definitely think that I could see him potentially using physical force to restrain her, but maybe not to beat her like that.
Yeah, and like at least like feeling bad about it at first, right? Like there's no like, and he never hesitates.
He's just fucking. He's like glazed, gone.
He's like, oh, you've given me like the green light to go ahead and start hitting you, but he knows this is hurting. Like, how? I just don't buy it.
No, I
don't know. So I like again, it just makes me uncomfortable in a lot of ways, which I know it's supposed to. So good on y'all for making me feel gross. I guess. If that's what your goal was, I feel gross about this, and I feel so bad for Dean Winchester. Like, but I also don't. Like. So this episode is a bummer.
That's a bummer. I don't like it.
But I'm glad Felicia Day was there. But I want to see her not hurt. I would like her to not have a broken arm.
Not getting punched in the face.
I would like to her not get punched in the face. I did enjoy watching her kick Dean in the face again. That was funny. I could watch that a couple times. I also feel like that was like one of the first like stage fight moves I learned. I remember that was my favorite stage combats. Kicking someone in the face. It's a really easy one. Because they can just have their hands there and it's like, you break them.
Yeah.
Stage combat. Not as much fun as real combat, but all right. I think anything else?
Nope.
Don't punch Charlie in the face, Dean. All right. Cheers, Rick.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Get It production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios podcast network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.